Hey guys, what's going on? Kirk FM here for Comic Impact, bringing you the only reviews that actually matter on the internet. And this is the week that we're going to talk about me making a lot of apologies because some stuff showed up that I have been kind of on the fence about in previous releases. And this is where this is going to be like the Catholic, what's that thing called where you go, the confessional. This is exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to confess to you my sins. And you guys are going to be like, speak your sins. And I'm going to be like, yeah, this comic, it was actually pretty good. I was wrong. It's going to be weird. So these are for the releases of August 26th. And this is going to be the top 5. Let's get into it. Number 5 on the list this week, we're going to go with Lando, number 3. Once again, still by Maleev and Soule. And yeah, we're going to keep telling you to go get Star Wars comics if the Star Wars comics by Marvel keep coming out this beautifully. A lot of people are going to kind of disagree with me on this one, and I'll stick with it. Basically, on first glance, you don't really feel like a lot happens in this issue, and it's just kind of like a little stop point to kind of move the story along a little bit quicker, which makes a lot of sense because this only comes out 2 weeks after issue 2 came out. But I say, if you take a closer look at it, this actually opens up the story as opposed to moving it forward. Now we're finding out that the ship that Lando and Lobot and his little crew of nefarious types have stolen belonged to the Emperor, and there's a lot of Sith relics on it. And given the timeline that this is happening in Star Wars continuity right now, I think it's very interesting that they are bringing that up and putting that in the forefront of the story. On top of that, I'm really invested in Lobot, and I really hope he pulls through. Number 4 on the list this week. Yes, my son, please. Confess your first sin, for tell us, where were you wrong? We're going to go with Deadpool's Secret Wars, number 4, by Colin Bunn. It finishes the series. It finishes it perfectly, and this is the story of Deadpool in the original Secret Wars, way back in the 80s. And as we pointed out on Comic Impact, the Deadpool character hadn't been created yet. By the time that mega event happened. This whole story explains his place and also explains why no one remembers him. It's sweet, it's funny, it fits perfectly in with the original Secret Wars, and I mean perfectly. The research was done, and it's impeccable how Deadpool actually fits in with the order of events. And let's just say it now, guys. I've never been the biggest fan of Deadpool. I don't necessarily think he works great as a solo character. I like him better in group teams or a group title. That being said, Deadpool also works really well in the hands of a great writer, and Bunn has definitely utilized the best elements of Deadpool without making him too overly funny, but just funny enough and just heartfelt enough that you kind of get a different point of view of who Deadpool is. Okay, guys. Number 3 on the list this week. Please, confess your second sin to everyone on the internet. Tell everyone where you were wrong, Kirk. And I will. Number 3 this week, we're going to go with Bryan Hitch's JLA. If you remember, a few weeks ago, number 1 was my disappointment of the week. I didn't even bother talking about number 2 because I still thought it was a little lackluster and a little meandering of where the story was going. And then all of a sudden, I get bitch slapped with this issue 3, and it's good. It was really good. Or I just want to see Hitch tackle a Green Lantern series and just handle the art. It was mind-blowing. It was cinematic. It was the same feeling I had flipping the pages when I first saw that original Ultimates series that he did so many years ago with Mark Millar. Definitely, amazing kudos. I was wrong. Number 3 this week, we are going with E is for Extinction, number 3 by Burnham and Villalobos, and it's part of the Secret Wars, and we've been following this series. I've definitely recommended it before. It takes place during the Grant Morrison X-Men run, and this is kind of what would happen afterwards. We kind of kept with that storyline, and it's just weird. It's the perfect type of weird. They kind of really channeled Grant Morrison's weird, and there's some really cool shout-outs to the Krishna and kind of like some of the stuff that Morrison's studying now and some of his other books. definitely kind of has that old Frank Quitely feel to it, and it's been really cool. It's been really cool. Guys, go check it out. And before we hit number 1, there always has to be the disappointment of the week. And let's admit it, screw my sins. We're tired of hearing about my sins. What about their sins? That's way more juicy. Superman 43. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, I have already talked about Superman being the disappointment of the week. I did it with 42 last month. And it still kind of needs to be brought up. I realize that Superman is a hard character to write. And with Yang, he's not quite catching the flavor of I think a lot of people are looking for in a Spider-Man story. Or Superman story. I don't even know what I'm reading. That's okay. But John Romita Jr.'s art is still fucking on point, and it definitely is helping the story out a lot. Because I feel like these scripts are just... Oh, yeah, I'm going to go there. Do you guys remember Kevin Smith when he wrote The Widening Gyre, the Batman story? Not taking anything away from Kevin Smith, because like his Green Arrow run was one of my favorite runs, and I think he writes fantastic titles when he's given the opportunity and time. But remember how fanboy that thing read? This is the problem with this Superman run. It's just weird to see a Superman who's like, yeah, I guess it's cool that he's out drinking with the Justice League and he's experiencing being human entirely for the first time in his life. And the way it's been written, where he's just like this doe-eyed 16-year-old teen who's just discovering the world for the first time, is really boring and really fanboy, and it's not what I'm looking for in a Superman title. It is cool and possible to have those scenarios with Superman. Alrighty guys, enough bullshit. Let's not mess around anymore. Number 1 this week, we're going with We Can Never Go Home Again. Number 4, being put out by Black Mask Studios. This makes 2 weeks in a row that a Black Mask release has made my number 1 in my top 5, and there's a reason for it. This company is putting out amazing stuff. I keep tweeting at them and being like, please notice me. I'm going to try to get an interview with those guys. What were we doing? Oh yeah, comic book reviews. My bad. I'm a huge fan of really nice line work. This definitely shows that off. I'm also a very big fan of realistic and brave color palette choices. This definitely shows this off. I'm also really in love with the fact that they're taking the story of 2 teens on the run who are just at their most like teenage dysfunctional, and they're taking that and they're also throwing in a world that does have powers. One girl is like telekinetic and super strong, and we also just met a person who's like a morph changeling person who can like change their identity, kind of like Mystique from X-Men, but we're putting it in the real world and also throw in like a great dose heavy injection of true romance. And I've loved this series, and I'm really imploring everyone to go check it out, because I think it's a 6-issue run, and they also just announced that it's doing so good that they're going to do a second series later next year. And why is this so good? Well, for one thing that always pops out for me whenever I read one of the issues in the series is the panel layouts. I love that there is a really painstakingly meticulous amount of effort and work that has gone into the way that the panels are laid out, especially when it's like a conversation and there's a lot of little tiny panels happening all at the same time. I love this series, and I'm really asking everybody to go take notice of Black Mask and go pick up this amazing We Can't Go Home, and We Can Never Go Home. Sorry, I'm screwing that up. But it's so fantastic, and it definitely hits home with me, and I think for a lot of readers that are still kind of coming from a place of not knowing who they are, or coming from a place of not want to be dictated by what your past is, this definitely speaks to you. I'm also going to definitely tell you guys it's mature themed. It's very adult. So if you're like 12, 13, 14, definitely don't go to the comic shop and try to buy this. Go head over to Comixology app, where they don't know how old you are, and read it there. As always, when you make it this far in the video, it really we really do appreciate it. Also, we're kind of sharing that comic book love between the two of us, and that's also very important. One of the main reasons that we do what we do here over at Comic Impact, especially when I just do these videos, because everyone knows how I got my start. This is by accident. Where are we at? Definitely hit me up on Twitter at KirkLikesStuff. I do have a personal page. Don't worry about that. I have an Instagram. It's mostly my dog and whatever beer I'm drinking at that moment. But definitely hop on over to the Comic Impact YouTube page where you will find this video, or as you're watching it right now, and go check out like our other videos, our podcasts, and I keep telling you guys, and you're going to keep hearing it for the next like 8 to 12 weeks, keep watching the website and the YouTube page because we got some really amazing things coming down that we're going to start unveiling soon. And I'm really excited. If you want to be a part of that ride and hop on early now, we would love that. As always, down below, leave comments. Tell me where I got it right, what I got wrong, what you're reading, what I should be reading, and let's start that conversation because I had some cool recommendations on Twitter this week. And one of my friends, my internet friends, Tony, he recommended Martian Manhunter, the first 3 issues from DC Comics, and he knocked it out of the park. I definitely picked them up, and that's kind of why I do this on the internet. It's for that interaction. I found a comic that I would have normally never picked up, and it turned out that it's fantastic, so I'm definitely going to recommend that one to you. And, you know, like I said, let's keep this conversation going. Alrighty, guys, see you next week.